So as you all know, I love doing a good build every once in a while, and I thought, why not do another shell challenge? Because literally I'm obsessed and I cannot stop making them. And so today I thought it'd be really fun to do a different shell challenge with a basement. And honestly, I don't like basements and I haven't done them in a long time, so we're gonna see how it actually turns out. Now, personally, if you don't know what a shell challenge is, the basic rules of it all is I build a shell like this, and then I upload to the hashtag on the gallery. You all download it, furnish it, landscape it, roof it, however you want, and then re-upload it with the hashtag, and then we do tours at a later date. Now, for this one in specifically, we will be having tours on May 31st, but it's actually due on May 28th. I will link all the rules down below in the description to a lovely Google document that my lovely Twitch mod has made for the shell challenge, and they do it every month, so it's always handy, always helpful to have one. If you want to know the basic rules of the shell challenge is basically do not touch my walls, do not mess with them. But what you can do is you can change the wall heights to how high you want, how low you want. You can rotate the lot to whatever position you want, change the lot size, lot type, whatever you want to do. However, don't use any custom content because CC is not really for me when it comes to build and buy because I don't use it in my builds. However, unless I state otherwise. But however, for a shell challenge, I want to keep it open, friendly, and just easy going for everyone so you can see all the creativity that you put into your builds without using custom content. But the one exception for this rule for the shell challenge, I would say, let's say you want to add like some type of like structure outside of my existing walls. You can do that, like a gazebo or a guest house or a pool house or whatever you want to do. You can add those extra rooms outside of my existing walls. As long as they're not touching, you are good to do what you want. But the real rule is do not mess with my walls. Like, don't move it front or back. Don't delete them because that's changing the existing structure. But don't forget there is a basement because I remember last time I did a shell challenge, a few people forgot the basement. So again, don't forget the basement. It is down there, down below. Use a ladder, use a stair, do what you got to do to make that basement popping and happening. So yeah. But let's see how I'm going to turn this shell into something really good and really interesting for your Sims to have. Like I said, I love building a lot in The Sims, and so doing shell challenges are always like a great way to challenge myself every single month, but also kind of see what you all end up coming with, because at the end of the day, we all build differently. We all come up with new ideas that ultimately we have not done before. And for me, I build so simple that I find it very interesting to see how you decorate a bathroom or a bedroom or whatever, like, open spacing, whatever it might be for the build. Now, for this one specifically, I decided to go with a university hangout lounge because I recently did Little Simsies Shell Challenge, the previous one, the Dino one, and I made it into a university housing like space for your university sims, because honestly, I do not build in Brychester that much, nor do I ever go there and kind of hang out with people. So I wanted to challenge myself to build in a different world with a different lot type and also lot size. And so instead of a 30 by 20, I put it on a 20 by 20, which is actually the smallest lot that you can fit this shell on, because a 20 by 15 I think is probably too small or like too big. Not really entirely sure, but nevertheless, I had so much trouble with the roofing of the shell because not only it's one story with the basement, it's on a smaller lot. I could not think, and I was losing my mind of trying to figure out how was I going to make this shell look good. And I was doing this live, so I didn't want to look like a fool in front of people. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like zhuzh it up a little bit, add some like nice landscaping, some nice whatever to make it look interesting. But as you all know, I love building and I love storytelling in all of my builds and all of my videos that I make on YouTube. And this one specifically, I was trying to think of an idea of the previous build that I did for Simsy Shell and tied it into this one. Now, if you didn't watch that video, I will link it down below in the description, but I also don't know when that video was uploaded because I'm recording this first before I finish my other build. So either way, that video will be up before this one. Regardless, they're tied together. But the whole synopsis of basically of that previous shell is there was a sim who actually had technically lived in this university housing area for about couple of like decades, I would say. And not only have they been in some sort of controversy of deciding what majors they want to be in, where they want to go, how they were going to do it, were they going to go to Foxbury or Bridechester University, they just really didn't know. But ultimately, it all came down to how much money they earned, how much money they got for their scholarship, who they were friends with, who were their professors. And let's just say a certain Sim Agnes Crunklebottom, who came to Pridechester about like 40 years ago, she stirred up some trouble with a certain Sim who actually owns this lovely hangout here that's been renovated over the past like 40 years or so. And Agnes, the Sim in question, let's just say she not only got married at this lovely lounge, because somehow she hates, public affection. She got married at this lounge that was once a nice wedding venue. And she also had a nice little cheeky woohoo down below in the basement of this lovely facility. And as you all know, one thing leads to another. Craziness happens. And I find that this was the place where Agnes felt so hurt and so belittled as a person and as a Sim that she swore to her life that she would never, ever, ever get married. And she will always ridicule and speak hate to people who show public affection in her peripheral view. And I think that's kind of why she doesn't like people at all. But also there's like more to the story of the lore of Agnes Crunklebottom and the Crunklebottom family, of course. But we'll say this is like the middle stage of her dilemma, of her mental breakdowns of her life before her husband died and such like that. But if you want to watch the history, the entire history of Agnes Crunklebottom, I'll link Plumbella's video down below in the description. But I think that it's so interesting to talk about Bridechester as like a history world because it seems so old and there's like so much like character and values of who came here before, who here is now, and how did it come to be, and why is it called Bridechester? Why is it called Foxbury? Who's in the in crowd? The stuff like that. And Agnes was like one of like the main people were here. And so that's why I was thinking of an idea of the story of like changing it from a wedding venue place to a university hangout. Because previously it was called the Crumple Bottom Lounge. And it's weird because her grandparents owned it. And it's just like even weirder that they had a wedding venue business. And I'm like, are you good about that? You should probably change your lifestyle with your business. And so they did. They died a couple of years ago. Regardless, how somehow Agnes is still alive and breathing, I do not know how. She is basically immortal. So after a couple of years of like 40 some odd years, let's say like 38 years in time, it was a wedding venue for 38 years. But those 2 years leading up to the 40 years, it was changed from a wedding venue to a lounge. And now this was actually taken into consideration of like who was going to own it. And the person who owns it is the president of Bridechester University, which I don't know who it is. His name could be Andy Smith. Let's go with Andy Smith. Andy Smith owns this lovely lounge here for the university students because he decided that he wanted to change up the look and feel of the vicinity of Bridechester University. Foxbury has their own little, tangents and whatnots they want to do with their things. But with Bridechester, how old and historical it is, they still want to keep the history alive, but also they want to make it sure it's updated to modern standards, but still keeping it its same character and modern structure. And that's why I didn't change the exterior of this whole area. They added a few landscapings, a few trees here and there to liven up a little bit more, but they did keep the main like structure on the inside, like the beams and the windows and, of course they have the bathrooms, but they added maybe a new door they added in, painted a little bit, added some new random windows that needed to be touched up, repatched in, fixed some glasses and stuff like that. So they did a few modern repairs, but still kept the main vicinity of what it is. And now I wanted to keep it very exciting with this one because I want to make it very lively and very university-esque. So it has the university hangout lot trait, I think fast internet, and then natural sunlight lot traits. So there's 3 lot traits, no lot challenges. And I think it's kind of like the perfect area for your Sims to hang out in. And I've never really actually used the University Hangout lot tray before, so I'm not really sure how it's going to work or what it's going to be like. But if you ever play it with Discover University, I think you'll have a lot of fun. Now, let me know in the comments below. If you're at this point in this video, let me know, have you ever played with Discover University? If you have, what was your experience? How did you feel about it? Do you think they should do a revamp of it? Because when I first played this, I was so over the moon with this pack because I was still in university at the time when they released Discover University. And not only did I think it was going to be exciting, I didn't think it was going to be very overwhelming with having to stay on top of your classes and, keep your social life if you had one, your kids if you had any, or job if you had one. Keep that up to date. But I find that if you live, breathe, eat university, you will succeed. But what's funny, I actually had a sim, Bob Pancakes, who I do a series on Twitch, which I might start doing on YouTube, where each time a new pack comes out, I will use him as a test subject to see how hard it could be to earn money or how hard to earn a degree with, a kid and a job and a house and, all these different things. Because Bob Pancakes is a sim who can do it all, I find. He can be a very good father, a very good husband, a very good, cook, chef person, business owner. Like right now in my playthrough of Bob Pancakes, he owns a 4-star mini diner restaurant. And I want to build him a new restaurant that is what he has dreamed of. And maybe one day pass it down to Iggy Pancakes if he wants to do that. I don't really know if he will. But you never really know what could possibly happen. But I'm just so excited about this because I have this newfound joy of building stuff that I have been scared of doing lately these past couple of years. Like I've been on YouTube for a decade, and that's saying a lot, a decade. But with building and just making content in general, I've always been so curious of what should I build? What should I not build? And I end up having all these ideas in my head because I'm a Pisces and I feel like I'm so creative. And I also have ADHD, which is not helping me at all. So I think of all these different ideas. What can I make? What can I do? And I have all this stuff on my list in Notion. And I'm just I'm going to do all these builds, but then I never do them because I second guess myself as one, being a Pisces of self-doubt and thinking creatively, but also overly trusting and so overly emotional. And especially just having ADHD of being all over the place, it does not help with content creation. So I'm just what can I do? I don't know. But nevertheless, I just find that with this year in general, 2022, dating myself with if it's ever comes back to light, is that I'm going to start doing whatever I want and start doing what I feel is good for me and exciting. Lately, I've been getting back into The Sims 2 and I've been really, really enjoying it and really enjoying building and Let's Plays. And I think I'm at this point in my life of YouTube and just making stuff that I want to start making Let's Plays again and just have fun and not be too structured, but just go with the flow, but have a story in mind, of course. And I am very excited to have that going very soon. It's gonna be a Sims 2 Let's Play and then a Sims 4 Let's Play, but I think I might keep it with one Let's Play and go with that and not overwhelm myself with too many things, because I've done that in the past and I ultimately quit all of my Let's Plays because of that reason. So I'm going to start with one Let's Play and play it for a couple of parts and then start another one and then come back to the new one. You know what I mean? Kind of switching it out. It's like Netflix. They bring a show, they cancel a show after a season. They bring it back after, popular demand or criticism. And then they do it again with a new fashion way. Like Saved by the Bell. It's been going on for years in the 80s. Stopped and then got back on Peacock, got canceled after 2 seasons. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But regardless, I find that with everything that's going on, I want to start making Let's Plays again with a hint of storytelling is how I started my channel. Storytelling at its finest with a good of personality and chaos is what we live for. But either way, I'm going to go ahead and hop into the real-time tour and show you all the entire thing because I did cut out a few things that you did not see that I want to show you. To be honest, with this shell challenge in particular, I normally do not build in Brightchester, and nor do I ever build community lots. But for this one in particular, I had so much fun with using the surrounding area for inspiration, and also willing to challenge myself to step out of my comfort zone with not doing a residential house. So this was definitely a little bit of a doozy, but it was worth it in the end, especially for like the landscaping and in the small little nook over here for like picnic area, some bike riding, some TV watching, or just sitting outside under the stars to see what's outside, especially even in the wintertime. Like if you come here in the wintertime, it might even look more magical, including in Brightchester. So it's kind of like a win-win situation. But for the inside though, I try to go a little bit crazy with it just because I knew for a fact that other Sims coming from different worlds would come here and hang out, make new friends, party a little bit, do all that crazy university stuff. So I went full out with all the packs that I basically had that I wanted to use, like Discover University, of course, and Dream Home Decorator, Eco Lifestyle, Get Famous, and some other packs too for like some knickknacks and patio wax. But I'm really pleased with how I decorated each and every room, like the foyer, the hallway, and even like this small little hangout area for like a ping pong table, a keg, and some seating, but including the main cafeteria area. Cause like when you're gonna hang out with your friends, you're gonna need a place to eat and, sleep and, do whatever you need to do. So you have like this small little cafeteria area over here. And then this is like a small little study area, I guess. Like you can have your mini fridge, your fireplace, your bookcase, and your microphone. Because apparently with the lounge, you need a microphone to sing somewhere. And I find it quite annoying, but the game needed it. So I added it in. So you're welcome. But ultimately, I think like the whole first floor itself was pretty simple with keeping it very open and not too crowded, but not too cluttered, but still adding that personality touch that I was looking for. But each and every bathroom are all gender neutral, so they're not restricted to gender, because I find gender bathrooms kind of weird and too much. So gender neutral bathrooms are easier for the Sims, so everything is not confusing. So I only added in 2 up here, but then I made them separate downstairs as well. So you have like 1 toilet here and then 2 toilets here. But I felt like if your Sims are gonna come to this university hangout, they might stay here all night and might need a place to shower. So I added in like a shower tub combo into the mix because, your Sims be smelly and you don't have time for them to stink up the place. For this lounge in particular, I find it that it needs a place for a Pacific club to hang out in, and only that club can access that room. Now, if you have get together, you have a club system and you can restrict certain rooms for a club. And I find it kind of nice that you can do that. So I added in like this club door in yellow for like plant Sims or whoever loves gardening or whatever, especially in Brightchester, can only access this room. And I wanted to make it very mid-century modern, so I used a lot of like Dream Home Decorator, Get Famous, bowling night stuff. But I really love this room. I would love to live in this room if it was real, because it's my style. It's what I live for every single day. But overall, this is the entire build itself. If you want to download it, you can actually get off the gallery right now. My origin ID is SpringSims, also under the hashtag SpringBaseShell for our shell challenge, which is due on May 28th, and we'll be doing tours on May 31st live on twitch.tv/SpringSims. But either way, as always, I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments below, as always, of your thoughts and opinions, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!